Alright guys, final thoughts on the Workbench. I've been using it for about 2 months now, and the one question I had was the top using the Dupli-Color bed armor, and it's worked out pretty well. It's held up nicely. As you can see, of course, it's dirty, it's got sawdust and whatnot, but wanted to come back with a video and give you my opinions on it. It's held up. The only thing I can say that's kind of bothered me a little bit is it doesn't seem, it still seems a little moist. I imagine in a truck bed sitting out in the sun it'll probably dry quicker, but being in this garage and always over 50% humidity, it'll probably take a couple of months for it to completely dry. And what I've noticed is that when you set items down on it, they tend to stick. If you can hear this. I moved that this morning, but it seems to stick to the top, but not a big deal. I mean, once you break it free, it doesn't pull any of the material up, so that's good. But as far as a workbench top, it's worked out nice. I've thrown alternators up on here, starters up on here, woodworking projects, and all kinds of different stuff, and it's held up. So if you're thinking about doing this and you want a cheaper alternative than to doing stainless steel tops or butcher block tops, this be the way to go. Or just leave it bare plywood. That also works. The only thing I didn't want to do is to have oil and chemicals and stuff like that seep in here. I have had acetone, mineral spirits, gasoline, kerosene, and diesel on this, and it is held up. Looks like I might have one little spot there, but it's held up like a trooper. I've been really pleased. So if you're thinking about doing it, I gotta recommend it. Worst case, if you don't like it, just take the top off and put a new sheet of plywood on there. But as far as the garage, the bench build and whatnot, I did go ahead and build shelves. A lot of folks have recommended that shelf space is a commodity, and that is true. I mean, if you can see all this, I've got a ton of stuff in here, and what I'll end up doing is most of this, like my tools and stuff right there, will go in my second toolbox, which of course will be in this spot, and it should clean up some of this workbench stuff. But the majority of that top stuff are things that I don't use that often, and the wife got some space on top of the freezer, but it seems to work out pretty well. I like it. It's pretty handy with the books and whatnot, having them right there in front of me so I can just pull them off and read them. And the space itself seems to be pretty good. I think it's just enough, and it's just deep enough that I can get things on there and work on them as I need. And hang lights. I've got little painter's lamps that I usually I'll hang off of this shelf and that shelf and point down and whatnot. But there you go. I wanted to give you a quick update a couple of months later, how everything's looking, and how the bed armor is held up. It does tend to get dirty, and if you lay stuff like cardboard boxes on it and it sticks to it, of course it'll peel it off. But you can take some Windex or even soap and water and wash this off if you want to. But for the most part, I think this is going to work nicely. Anyways, if you have any questions about it or want to see a certain shot of it or something like that, just shoot me a message and I'll get that done for you. Talk to you later, guys.